Today on Homebrew Terrain, we're going to be building a building. And as I mentioned in my previous video, we're going to build this guy, and we're going to take it in sections. And it's interesting because the video itself that I recorded originally was supposed to have 3 pieces in it. It was going to have this building, this pillar, that you may recall from a few videos ago, and this bridgeway that I created to go onto the building. That being said, the building and construction of these takes very little time at all. It actually is very, very fast to do. You can actually build this building here. Like I did this probably in primer, dry, and all, probably about an hour. Yeah, it's from the point that it's at right now, it's probably been about an hour. So I mean, it's really simple and easy to do. And I thought, hey, what the heck? It's gonna go really fast, and I'll be able to explain it to everybody. Quick and easy terrain you can make. Just slap it down. But what I discovered very quickly is that the watching and explaining of this takes a lot more time than the actual building of this when you know what you're doing. So I broke it into 3 separate videos because nobody wants to watch a 3-hour video on how to make weird junky stuff from whatever you've got lying around. So that being said, without further ado, on to the building. Hey, my name is Aaron, and welcome to Homebrew Terrain. Okay, so for the building, I just have 2 flaps of cardboard that I got from an Amazon box, and I've taken the liberty of pre-drawing a little helio on here, like a little triangle shape, and it's got some like busted out bits. So what we're gonna end up doing here is we're gonna fold this into a 45-degree angle like this, and there's gonna be stuff down here like floors that you can put stuff on and things. So that's kind of how that's gonna go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the scissors, or if you want to, you can use your handy dandy X-Acto knife here, and we're gonna go through and just stripe off that triangle we drew a few minutes ago. And the cool thing is we can save this because we can turn this into a wall or something else later. So when you're making small little effects like this for the battlefield, it's pretty cool. You can just do little things that make a big difference. It's nice to have 1 or 2 really big terrain pieces as like a decorative piece, but like the functional stuff that you're going to use all over the place, it's just going to be little stuff like this. So from here, we're going to go through and we're going to cut out these pieces here that kind of represent the building being destroyed. Now, if you want to get really cool with this, like I would do, but I'm inside, and being inside is not conducive to this next trick. But what you do is you literally burn it, like burn the edges of this with a lighter. And since cardboard, especially if it comes from like Amazon and stuff, actually it's kind of got a fire retardant on it so that it won't burn as easily or as fluidly as like a piece of paper would, then you can get some really cool like burnt effects along here, which is pretty neat. It'll actually do some cool bean stuff. Okay, and then we're gonna come over to here and we're gonna cut out more of this goodness. And these little cutout sections here don't have to be perfect. They just kind of represent how the building's falling apart. So they can be however you want them to be. I just did kind of right angles and easy to do stuff just because, for the sake of time and making this easy to do. But you can get as cool as you want with like making these like all rigidy and stuff. And it's pretty cool beans. We're not gonna go through the whole process of doubling out the wall. One of the things that you can do, which is kind of cool, is when you have both of the pieces of cardboard that you're using, right, you can have them both kind of match up against each other like this. So I would cut this one out and match it like that, or you know, slightly different, and then you'd have a piece on the top like this that would run down with them and then kind of match the crumbly bits, and then you could have like bits of scaffolding and stuff sticking out of the inside, and you could really go crazy with it. But again, that's not really what we're here to do. Not today. Today we're just going to make quick and easy terrain, and that's kind of the whole point of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure the floorage in this. Now this one here could probably have 3 stories in it, But most of the models that you're going to have on here are going to be, you know, regular dudes. So I'm going to take your regular duder here. Let's just say we're going to take this this aberrant here. He's going to be our. Maybe you can see him. Anyway, yeah, I just started painting him. Shut up. This aberrant here is going to be our dude to determine how tall things are going to be. And so we're going to look over here and measure it really simply. We're just going to say 2 inches. So 2 inches up. I have no idea what that is in metric because American, we can't measure anything here. I think we already covered all that. And then we're going to go across here, and this is going to be our first floor. Now, the thing is, when you do the floor, for the first floor especially, you're going to want to crumble it all up and bust it all up so that it has holes in it. And the reason you're going to want to do that is because inherently, no matter how cool things are, there's always going to be somebody who wants to stick something underneath it. Like, oh yeah, my sniper dude is hiding on the bottom floor, you know. But if there's going to be a piece that goes like around here like this, right? And so there's going to be a floor down here, and then there's going to be a floor like jaggedy right here, and somebody's always going to want to stick their model down inside here. The best thing to do is bust it away from the wall over here so it looks like it's got a hole in the floor, and then there's no, then you can stick your finger down in there and kind of wedge the dude back out after you blow him up with a tank or something. Okay, so now we know that we want this to be at a right angle, right? Because all houses are built on right angles, because that's just the coolest thing to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take another piece of cardboard. Ta-da! We're going to put it down here like this, and we're going to 90 degree this guy. Ta-da! Like that. See? See how cool that is? That is so cool. I love it. But unfortunately, it is not long enough right here. So I don't care. Oh, we're going to use it anyway. I'm like, we're just going to use it anyway. So what we're going to do here, and I'm going to put this down here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. We're going to go over here. And I'm using the 90 degrees here on this. I'm just kind of sticking it up against it like that. And that's going to be a really cool bracer. Like so. Then I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to mark it right here. Like that. Okay. Cool. And cool. And then I'm going to take my pen. Where's my pen? Pen. I had a pen. It was just right here. There it is. Okay. And I'm going to mark it like this. And that lets me know that's what my first floor looks like. Yay! Okay, so then I'm going to take this bad boy, my handy dandy X-Acto knife here. I'm going to cut it. Never cut towards yourself. There, so that's my first floor. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to glue it in there just like that. One of the other things that I forgot to mention is we're going to make some windows in these buildings, right? And archways and ways to get in and out. So what we're going to do here, okay. So the average aberrant base is right here, so that's about right. Oops. And so what we're going to do is the pen, go mark here, and here, and this is roughly, it's 4 and some change, but let's go ahead and just say it's 4.5. 4.5 inches. So if we go another 3 inches over, and then we'll go there, that, and then we go 4 and some change. We go to here, just mark it at 4.5. And then there's 2 little archways. That's kind of cool, right? Archways are cool. We like archways. And then, blam, like that. Now we're still going to need a little bit of room underneath here because we're going to put a whole second floor up here. So we'll give it about, say it's probably about, for the measurements of measurements, we'll give it a half an inch. About a half an inch. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure that the archway doesn't bust up into the second floor, because that would just be weird. Okay. Okay. Now we just draw this line here. Boom. Now we're going to go back to here. Okay. We're going to use this to scratch out a hole. There we go. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Just close enough. Like that. And then this one here is the same way. Like that. And then we'll just use these guys as templates on the other side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go tighten up the blade, because if we don't, we're going to cut ourselves. So then we're going to come down here, and we're going to go swoop and swoop. Cut through here because we're awesome like that. There we go. Look how awesome we are. Of course we can. And again, this doesn't actually have to be perfect, because this is going to be like a ruined building, and I'm getting a little more carried away with my perfectionism than I should here. And then we can come over to this side here, do the same thing. Use the pen, blah, 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 blah. It's underneath here, of course it is, because why wouldn't it be? Like this. And this is going to help being able to move models in, on, and around this. Plus it gives your guys charging and shooting and all that other stuff. But it still gives your, other duders some cover, which is important, because it makes the game more dynamic and more fun. And it makes this piece of terrain more usable. And again, this isn't supposed to be taking a whole lot of time. It's just, a quickie little piece of terrain that you can build and just drop on the table. So what I did there was I basically cut out these 4 little archways, and once this is put together like this, then your units will be able to move through here, these little duders. Okay, very cool. We're all happy with that. I'm happy, you're happy, we're all happy here. Thank you. Now, boring conversation anyway. Luke, we're gonna have company. Okay, so putting this on the table like that, and maybe we're gonna mark this around it like that. There. Just like that. Now that we have the floor piece and the wall piece, what we need to do is we need to do the floor piece again. So we're going to do a piece of cardboard like this. For whatever reason, this one's slightly smaller than the other one, but it actually doesn't matter because the second one's going to be all cut up anyway. Because this is the second floor. And the second floor is going to be a mess. Alright, and we want it to be a mess because if we don't make it a mess, then it's going to be hard to move models and stuff. That's just the way it is. That's just the way life goes. But you still want to try to keep the 45-degree angle as much as you possibly can. That perfect, I'm sorry, 40. That perfect 90-degree angle. So you want it to be as close as you can. This is still kind of not that good, but it's alright. It'll work. It'll work. It'll work! Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this piece, we're going to fold it in half, like this, right? And then we're going to glue it with this piece on that piece like that. You with me? Good. And we're going to hot glue along here, and along here, and along here. Just like that. And we're going to take this piece, like that. I'm going to stick it right on there and glue it right down. Now, unfortunately, because of the way this always works, we're going to end up gluing some of this to the table, which we always do. Let's just kind of pick it up carefully. There. There. And because I'm cool like that, I'm going to run through and I'm going to throw a little bit of bead right here. I'm going to put a little bead of hot glue here and on the insides right in here. That'll help hold it down just a little bit later on. So here we have the first floor and the corner of the building glued into place. Now if you want to, and I probably should have done this before I glued any more in here, you can go back and you can actually put windows in the second floor. It doesn't really matter all that much. I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I can. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just cut out a window shape. But I don't want to make them too big, because I'm going to put a third floor on here, but the third floor is not going to be very big at all. But it'll be big enough that it'll be cool to stick like models and stuff in there. And you can get really elaborate with the detail on this if you want to and make it look really, really sick. You can use like popsicle sticks like this to like frame the windows and use toothpicks to make like runners for the inside of the windows. And you can even go so far as to get like saran wrap and glue that in there and actually have glass inside the windows. I'm not all into that right now because again, this is supposed to be just a quick and dirty terrain piece that you can build really fast and get on the tabletop really, really quickly. Again, I'm just going to cut out some windows here because it'll look cool if I do it. I'm not even measuring it or anything. I'm just kind of ramshackling this together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that other piece that we cut out, this one here, and we're going to stick it like right here. But we're going to do some stuff to this one first. Yes we are. So you see the 90-degree angle that we have here. If we put troops in the back corner of that building over there with this on top of it with this piece solid, you won't really be able to get to them or even see that they're there. So one of the cool things that we're going to do here is we're going to just kind of break it away at a really cool sort of just amorphous shape like this. Kind of like when you're cutting out the top of your pumpkin. You want to kind of create a sort of goofy shape that doesn't break the structure of what we're doing here, like this. Okay, if I can get that out of there, like this. So there. So now we've cut this section away. So when we have this piece right here and we stick this piece into it right there, you'll see that the floor is busted away right here. But it's cool because you can stick your finger down inside there and move your dude around. You can actually cut this away even more if you want to. I'm not really going to do that because, again, no, I guess I could. So you can go ahead and mark it here where I want to cut it to. Because I want that window to be usable. Okay. So now that's right here. So now that we have it here, so what we're really going to do is we're going to kind of do this, because I think that wasn't a very good hole there. There we go. And now you can get your hand down inside there and move your guy around. And that's really kind of important. Now the other thing we're going to do here is we're going to draw this, we're going to draw a line from here across this way, and we're going to kind of jag that all up there. And it's going to open up the floor on the bottom, and it's going to do some cool stuff. And we're going to draw a line from corner to corner. Like this. Because these are the corners we want. So this is going to be the usable floor space right here, and this is just going to be whatever I have left over. And actually, I will use that for the third floor. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut this away, just like this. And this doesn't even have to be a perfect cut because you're going to mess it all up on purpose. So, yeah, that's a thing. Never cut towards yourself. Do as I say, not as I do. So remember, you want to have some usable floor space up here, so you don't want to cut too much of this away. But you do want it to be kind of jaggedy, and it'll be a lot easier for me to do this with the scissors. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just kind of go through and chip up the edge like this. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect, you know, and even having like perfect angles is going to look a little weird, but you know, whatever. Again, for a piece of terrain that should only take you like, you know, 15 or 20 minutes to make, it's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So that's the outside edge of kind of where the building was blasted away, and this is the remaining piece of floor. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the building right here. It's going to fit like this right there, like that. See how cool that is? You know you like it. Okay. And then that line that we drew on the inside right here, this line right here, we're going to we're going to throw some hot glue on that bad boy, and we're going to stick the piece on that. So yeah, it's going to be hard for me to do that where you guys can watch it, but let's see if I can pull it off, because I'm amazing. Okay. Upside down and backwards. Alrighty, so we're just going to throw some hot glue right along here. And don't worry about being, you know, cool with this as far as like making sure that the hot glue doesn't spill over or anything. It's not really all that big of a deal. And again, I forgot that we were going to get that hole cut away in the middle, so, you know, I guess you probably should have measured it a little bit, but whatever. Again, this isn't a big thing, like that. Oops, hold on a second. Smeared it around. See, this is why you don't do this upside down and backwards. Alright, so this piece right here is going to be like right here. So yeah, just a quickly little measurement, save us some glue. Mark it here, and there. So then we'll come through and we'll run a bead of hot glue right here. Like that, and then we'll just take this bad boy and stick it down on top of there like that. Wait for that to cool. And that, my friends, is the second floor. Okay. By now this structure should be nice and stable. So now what we're going to do, and we could have done this earlier, but I like to do it on the second stage because I know where this is going to be. I like to know where the second floor is going to be before I start jacking up the first floor. Again, the same thing, drawing the line to line right here. So, ruler. I'm going to put this ruler right here. And I'm going to do the same diagonal cut, that I did a minute ago. I'm going to draw like right here, like this. So now I know where the structure will kind of be, but then I can actually kick parts of it out, you know, and make it look really cool, which is why you don't want to cut that off too soon, because you want to have space underneath this. So like, I'm not going to go all the way to that line, but I do know that that's the cutoff line, that line that we just drew right here. That lets me know that this is the part that has to be here, and this is the part that I can mess around with. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come over here with my scissors and my shears, and I'm just going to mess around on this part here. And you don't want these to be, you know, straight even lines, because I mean this building looks like it's been blown apart and it's going to be all jaggedy and weird. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. So we just take our scissors here and cut this all up like that. I'm going to go through and make some little jags into it. Like that. And I don't want to cut past that line that I just drew right here. I want it to stick out a little bit more than that. Because there are some things in here that are structural and you kind of need to keep them there, otherwise the model will lose its integrity. Okay, so there we go. I went ahead and cut out the bottom, so the bottom layer, so there's the bottom level, and then there's the second floor, and now we're going to do the third floor. So we're going to take our roulis like we did before, and you see how it is, it's 2 inches. Can't even see that. It's 2 inches from, this is when I'm using multiple light sources. I'm like, where's the light? Okay, 2 inches down, so we're going to do another 2 inches up, which will put us right here, and we'll draw a line 2 inches up right here and around like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, because that's a thing. Yeah, where's my pen? Because pens are important. Okay, so my pen's right here. And I'm going to draw this line here. There's 2 inches there. And 2 inches here. Using a base running line. And I'm not going to do this one upside down and backwards. Sorry, guys. And there we go. And then the same thing on this side. Now this one you've already got it measured out because you've already, light source. Because you've already made this line here, you're just going to use that line and line it up there and draw on the other side. But again, not going to do it upside down and backwards, so all you're going to see is a big fat wad of cardboard. And this line, unlike the other ones, has to be completely perfect. Okay, I'm totally lying. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. It's just a ramshackle building. And this is actually not structural even, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and take one of the smaller chunks of cardboard that we got out of this and just, you know, there you go, just like that. Like so. And it will sit in here just like this. Ta-da! Are we happy? I'm happy. We're all happy now. Okay, and then so we're going to make a mark here, and we're going to make a mark here on the corners, see where the edges of the building are. So we're going to make marks on, see if you guys can see what I'm doing here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a mark here where it comes to the edge, and here where it comes to the edge. And then we're going to throw that building aside, and we're going to come over to here, and we're going to use the roulis, and we're going to measure, because that's what we do, we like to measure. And we like to do it on camera where people can actually see what we're doing. And we're going to go ahead and measure from those 2 marks. So from here to here. Like that. And that mark right there. And then we're just going to use the X-Acto knife or the scissors or whatever we want to use because we're awesome like that. Remember, don't cut towards yourself. Important safety tip. Okay. Here and stab into our hands because hey, why not? Alright, never cut towards yourself. Like, never cut towards yourself. Don't ever cut towards yourself. Okay. Do as I'm doing. Okay, don't. And there we have it. Now we have one short and one long. There we go. Ta-da! Like that. Now again, same thing, same. Now you notice that this one here is going to have a gap. And I gotta move the camera back up. Ta-da! Okay. So when you go to put it back on, this one here is going to have a little gap because it's going to stick like right here. There's going to be a little bit of a wiggle room here. It's okay. We're going to force the cardboard to do what we want. We're going to glue it onto this side first, and then we're going to glue it onto the other side next, and then we're going to force the cardboard into place because it's cardboard. It shouldn't dictate to us what it's going to do. We should tell it. We should say, you know what, cardboard? Shut up and do what we tell you to do, stupid piece of cardboard, because you're just cardboard. You don't even have rights, so shut up. Okay, so we're gonna take the short end and just glue it right into place. There we go. Ta-da. And there she blows. Okay. Now in this particular case, you'll notice that I did not cut any sections away from the, like I did in the second story. That's because no one's going to be standing there. It's a big hole. So you don't need to do that. And since the top story is actually really, really small anyway, and it doesn't really have a whole lot of room to do stuff, you want to leave as much cardboard on the top floor as you possibly can. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're still going to jack up the edges, but it's not going to be like the second story is a real mess. It's not going to be like. So now what we're going to do is, now that it's cool enough, yes, it's finally cool enough. Okay, we're going to go ahead and run some glue along the inside here, and then just force that into place. Got it? You with me? All right, we're all good here. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to push this into place, and I'm going to hold it until it's nice and cool and it holds in place. And once it's cool enough here, I'm going to go ahead and run another bead of glue around the edges just because I want it to be extra thicker. Oh, one of the other things that's really important to note too is that when you get under the top story here, it's really easy, and I think I've already done it, but it's really easy to make it so that it's like you glue it too high on one side and a little too low on the other. You really need to make it as level as you can, otherwise models, you'll put them up there and they'll slide off, and that's annoying. Nobody likes that. So now that it's all glued in place, I'm going to take this guy here and I'm going to run another bead right here. But I'm also going to do something cool. So what you want to do, and again, you probably should have done this before you glued it in place, but whatever. I was too anxious to get it done, and I wasn't thinking properly. So what you do here is you just shred the top like this. But again, I like to do them in shallow cuts like this on the top piece because, like I said before, see, it's already peeling away. This is why you don't do it when it's already glued in, because then bad stuff happens. I like to make shallower cuts on the top piece because you want to be able to use it for something, otherwise it's just decoration. And let's face it, decoration's just kind of eh. And there we have it. There is your building frame. It's a blasted out corner piece, and you can use it to throw your dudes on like this. So you know they're peering over the top, but they're on the second story here. You know, trying not to fall in. Or even better, if you're like playing Mordheim, somebody can come underneath you and you can like jump down on top of them. That'd be kind of cool. And then of course you have your duders here that you can go through the door. Hey, how's it going? Come on in. Hey, thanks for coming to Blue's Clues. You see my puppies here? Okay, anyway. You know, that's cool. So remember how the bottom floor was too short? It got to this point where it just kind of cut off, and then there was still more building. So all I did was just cut the building away with my X-Acto knife, and I did that to, you know, where the floors line up. So there you go. And this right here is your piece of terrain. Now the cool part about this is if you're doing something like a Mordheim, or you're doing something like anything else, you know, you can start throwing lots of detail into this if you want to. You can use these wooden planks, and you can actually build out like wooden flooring all over this whole thing if you want to do it that way. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. One of the things that I like to do is I like to take toothpicks, because like this is a building that's being requisitioned time and time again by things and people. So I'm gonna stick like toothpicks down inside the corrugation pieces here and make it look like, you know, there's some bits and bobs there. And again, you can go as far as you want to with this, as far as all that goes. One of the other things that's really fun to do is you take like Elmer's glue and just smear it all over the front of this and just kind of pour the sand all over it, and you make like a stucco look to it. You can use burn marks with the paints and all that kind of stuff. But what I like to do again is I just take these toothpicks here and I put them into the corrugation, and I create these sorts of pieces like this. The other thing that I really want to do here that I will do and it's maybe even in a separate video, is I want to run a balcony along the outside of this. It adds an extra level of dynamics to a piece of terrain. It makes it very much more usable. One of the problems you have with a lot of terrain is that it's really pretty, but it's not very functional. And in a game, you know, especially, you want it to be more functional than anything else. Because that lovely piece by Games Workshop, the Wizard's Tower, I love the look of that tower, but I really don't like how it just sits in the middle of the table like a turd, and it doesn't actually do anything. You know, you can't requisition it, you can't put models on it, or you know, you can, but only in certain places, and it's just very not usable. Whereas something like this would be very, very usable. I mean, that's the whole point of this, is just the pure functionality of it. So what I'm going to do here is it's going to look like this when I'm done, where I will take the Elmer's glue, or even hot glue. I can run some hot glue and then just stab these things through the hot glue, and then it creates this really cool effect. And then I'm going to go ahead and run a balcony along the outside of it, and I'll show you how to do that in another video, because that'll take a little bit more time, but it'll look pretty cool when you do it. Alright, and there you go. And then just a matter of painting it up and making it look like a burnt out hulk of a ruined building. And there's some cool tricks you can do with the paint, by the way. So what you do is you just spray prime this whole thing like a white or a dark tan or something. And then you can actually, you know, hand paint like little bricks and things like that in here if you want to. Or you can use the scraps right here to cut out little brick pieces and rays, kind of like we did here with the pillar. With these pieces here on the outside for the decorations or whatever they are, the etchings that are on the inside of the pillar. You can just use a piece of cardboard to cut it out like little squares and just kind of glue that on the outside of this, and then just paint the whole thing like the outside of a building and then dry brush it. You can also take these guys right here and draw on a piece of cardboard, then cut them out, and then cut the ring around on the outside of that, and then you can just put like little door frames on these. And there's just lots of little things you can do, and I'll show you some of those techniques here in another video. But this here is the structure of your building, and honestly, you can use it right away even if you don't want to paint it or do anything to it. It's just a great piece of terrain you can make really fast. You can stick it together and then slap it on the table and play. Hopefully if you like this, then go ahead and hit the thumbs up and like and subscribe and all of that good goings on. If you don't like it, then you don't. It just seems kind of passive-aggressive there. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully this was exactly what you needed to build yourself an awesome tabletop, and happy working! That's the cool thing about being here in Homebrew Train. We don't do any kind of product placement